Kpjpflorida.
It's Fam here.
Yes.
So we loved your last video, the Harry Potter Hedwig Lego. So we thought, as you're also a little bit of a baker, we wanted to set you a challenge. Do you think you're up for it?
Yeah.
So we would love to see you make a Harry Potter themed Hedwig cake.
Hedwig,
that's what I said.
Yes, Hedwig.
So that is your challenge if you accept it. And we can't wait to see the end result so we can score you. Okay.
Perfect. Take
Good
care.
luck.
Good luck.
Bye.
Wow, so who cannot accept a challenge like that? Me! So here we go, 8-inch cake. I've already put some fondant on top, some icing, white icing on top of my 8-inch cake. And this is me giving it a go. So if you want to see how they score me at the end of the video, keep watching and watch till the end. So what we're going to do here then is I need to make the scarf first. So as we know, Harry Potter has the red and yellow scarf. Iconic and should be quite simple to do. So I've got my yellow and my red fondant, which you can buy from Amazon, you can buy from your local shops. In the UK we can get it from Asda, Tesco's, everywhere they do the red and yellow fondant, so it's in. So what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting the edges off just to try and make the thickness of both of the fondant the same thickness so that the scarf, it doesn't really matter though, because scarves, once they're all crunched up and around, they don't look the same thickness. So I've got some squares to help cut out my panels, but again you could do freehand, you don't have to have these items. I'm also scoring my fondant so it looks a little bit more like a material, a wall material. You'll see it adds texture. It's probably not the right way to do it or the wrong way to do it, but it's my way of doing it for sure. So I'm just adding texture to both the red and the yellow squares panels, and then what we do, we start then popping it on to the cake. To apply the panels of the scarf to the cake, I'm just using water. You can get a like a glue substance, or you can use vodka, because vodka actually loses its taste, so which is a shame really on a cake. But yes, so I just use a little bit of water, and as you can see, I'm just randomly just putting it in, just putting it on the 8-inch cake. So if you were making a cake and you made some mistakes to the cake itself, like the white main cake, then you can easily cover it up with the fondant pieces, which I think is just great, because I made a few mistakes when I was trying to put the fondant over the cake. It wasn't smoothing down as nicely as I wanted it to, so it's perfect. Just cover it up with a bit of red and yellow scarf. Awesome. And look here, you can see that my my shape that I cut out wasn't quite long enough, so I just stretched it. It still looks awesome, and then I cut with some scissors the fondant to make the ends of the scarf, which again, simple to do and very effective. Scrunch it a little up and then just whack it underneath, and voila, Bob's your auntie's uncle. Look how cool that looks. I'm well impressed. Haven't made a cake for quite a while, so yeah, what I do to get my inspiration, I'll look at other people's cakes, obviously, I'll Google, and then I'll either add something to it of my own just to get some ideas from them. So here I'm using my smoothing tool to help me understand where I'm going to place the next items that I'm making. Because if you haven't got a ruler, or you just visually look to see what size you think you're going to make. These are books, so you're going to see in a minute. This is the books that I started to make. And so they came out so cool, and actually they're quite easy to make. Look, one strip, you fold it in half. How cool is that? And then put some white icing in the middle. Again, I just looked and come up with this, but again, you can Google. There is loads of things on YouTube which will help you make things like these cakes. Okay, so we place the white icing inside the purple, fold it over, and it instantly just looks like a book. It's really good. Then with the other end of the tool, I just used it to score like pages. So, and then all of a sudden, look, it comes to life. It's got some pages on it. And then got a little bit of dodgy fondant there. But again, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's all adds to the character of the book. These are Harry Potter books. These are very old, valuable books. Wizardry. Got magic in them. So, yep, popped it on top of the cake. Looking good. And now I'm going to do a red fondant, but I wanted to, oh, can't we see? Copper. This is a copper colour. I wanted to jazz up the red fondant because otherwise it would be very similar to the red in the scarf. So I wanted to make it a different sort of dimensional colour. Love that word. Made that up. No. Just to add again a different layer of texture and colour to the cake. So again, what I'm doing here, I'm actually making 2 cakes. So I've made 1 large strip, cut it in half, and then because it's quite time consuming to make a cake like this, it took me 2 days, and it probably took me at least 5 or 6 hours the first day, and then a couple of hours on the second day. So it's a long old process to make cakes, but I love making them, so it's very rewarding for me. So yes, so as you can see, the second book is being made, and you can see from this like a slight textured different colour to the book. It looks a little bit used and worn out a little bit. And yeah, look, I'm adding some to the top just to give it a little bit more depth and something different to the scarf. Straight away, you can see that's a different colour, and I'm just trying to bend the books a little bit. This is the placement of the book. I actually made them too thin, but that's okay. So look, when I tried to put them on top of the purple, it didn't quite go, so I just placed them on top of each other. Again, that's the fun thing you can do with cakes. Just use your imagination and put them wherever you want. I think it's looking really, really good. Oh, if you could make cakes in the time that I've actually edited this video, it'd be awesome. Even editing this video was 2 hours. Right, now we're getting on to making Hedwig the owl. He was so difficult. Okay, so I'm using black fondant for his beak and his eyes, and I'm using these crispy treats, so square treats. They are Rice Krispies with marshmallows, and they're perfect for moulding. So you can pick these up again online or in the UK in the local supermarket, and they're nice and lightweight. That's the good thing about them, because if I made Hedwig in cake, it'd be quite heavy for the cake, and actually quite expensive. So with using these crispy treats, you can mold them as you want, and they're just easy, much more easy to use. The crumbly ones here, I don't know what was happening with those, so I just put those to one side and actually got a brand new packet out of the cupboard, which was nice and gooey to make Hedwig's head. The problem I always have with making my cakes is size. So I actually wanted Hedwig, the owl, to be looking sideways. My visual was like he was going to look sideways with his head, and he was going to sit on the purple book. Oh yeah, I made him a chunky monkey. So I've started to get the shape of how I think the owl should look, and now I'm going to place the fondant on top of the owl, because it obviously is a white owl. He's Hagrid. It's not Hagrid, he's Hedwig. I say that all the time. So don't forget, so my vision was he was a side-on owl. He was looking side-on. And as you can see, do you remember I talked about at the beginning where the fondant sometimes stretches or it like rips? This is a prime example of it ripping, but what you can do is you can just cover it up, so don't even panic. It's not a problem. The end result will look great. At this moment in time though, when I'm creating him, I've no idea, and I'm just like layering him up and trying to think how I was going to do the wings and his body. I put his eyes on, so that sort of gave me a sort of a starting point of how I thought it was, but look at that just looks awful. JP came down at one point as well, and he was just like, oh yeah, it's looking good, well done babe. Sarcastic. But yeah, I think with like baking and making things, you just got to keep trying, and then you just here great example of me trying. I thought I'd make feathers with like the little half circles, give a little bit of texture. So I started putting them on, and then I just didn't like them, so I took them all off again. But that's it, trial and error. Not one way is the right way. You've just got to keep trying and seeing what you think is right. So here I then thought, let me scratch. It's all like scratching movements so that you can then make him have a texturized feather look on him. And then I'm layering up some layers of feathers to his body. So I think it's coming on quite well. Sometimes it can take ages, and you like in a minute you'll see me doing his eyes, and I redo them about 3 times. It's all about patience and getting it right. But the funny thing is when I sometimes watch these cake programs on TV and they're videoing them and they look like they're doing it right the very first time, it's like, oh, wow, amazing. His beak was good. I did like his beak. I got that right the first time. So bravo. Woohoo! But look, you can see with his eyes, I'm layering up his little eyebrows, making them fluffy by doing that scoring motion. Adds the texture. Oh, that was JP's hand. Yeah, he said that the eyes weren't right. He said, yeah, he was giving me his constructive feedback. Yeah, thanks, JP. And then he had a go at himself, actually. He tried to have a go. I cut that bit out. He said like it needed little white bits in the... Actually, that does actually look quite good. Yeah, I took the white bits out though because I didn't like it. I took the whole thing out in a minute, you'll see. Eyes are very, very important in cakes because they give you that expression, don't they? So if the eyes are wrong, then the whole cake is wrong. So yeah, later on I just carry on doing the best I can. It's so fiddly as well, like the fondant is so tiny, and I feel like our hands are just adult hands are just too big and chunky, so you have to sort of get in and use a little few tools to help you along the way. And what I've started to do here, I started to sort of build up some of the feathering around his face as well, around his eyes and around his beak, just to make it look a little bit more realistic for him. Bless his little heart. I actually think he's looking quite good. Look, if you think about where I just started from to what he looks like now, he definitely looks like an owl. Whereas when I first started with the blob of Rice Krispies and the fondant, he didn't really look like an owl, did he? And I put him on this polystyrene and put that little stick in the middle of him as well to give me some support when I wanted to transport him from being on here to the cake. I was actually going to... for support, so if you were shipping it or it was for a party, you know, for children, etc., or adult, you would need to put those skewers in as support to transport it. But as it's just going to stay in my house, it's perfect. Yep, lots more scoring, looking good. He's looking really cute, actually. Looking at him on the screen now, look, here you go. Here, I take the eyes out because I wasn't happy with him. He is really, really cute. He or she? This was part of my quiz, wasn't it, the other day? If you check the video out, I'll leave it below. Is he a he or a she? Not going to give you the answer. You need to go and watch my Lego Hedwig and look at the and watch the pop quiz that I did to go with the Lego video. It was really good. Well, I had like 50 views, but it was still really good. I thought it was a good one. Don't forget, if you are still watching me and you're still listening to me, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you see all my prompts. I generally put videos up every Wednesday, Saturday and Sunday, and whilst we're still sort of coming out of lockdown, we're not really travelling around at the moment, so we're not doing any Florida visits or cruising or anything, which is quite sad, but we will do again soon. So in the interim, I'm doing baking, we're doing cooking, and we're just doing weekend vlogs. Oh, see? Looks so good. So this is me putting Hedwig on the cake. Maybe a he, maybe a she. Placing him, her. Putting some more little white feathering on top. Looking very cute. And then what we need to do now is start layering up the cake, giving the cake a little bit of definition and making it pop. So in here I've put some copper colouring and it's mixed in with a little bit of water. And then, so it's if you ever see anyone doing watercolors or anything like that on a fondant cake, this is what they've probably been using. It's dust. It's a really fine copper dust, which are then mixed with water, and just freehand just go round just to age it a little bit, maybe look a bit wood like, and just having a little bit of fun. I thought it looks quite cool. And then what we need to do is start looking at him, and I've used a different colour, brown, just to add some speckles to him and some more definition to layer him up as well. Same approach, just a little bit of this powder with water, and then I've had sparkle. I love adding, I'm sorry, but I have to add my sparkle. You can't really see it very well on the camera, but I've added my fairy dust. It's so pretty, it's sparkly white and it's lush. Next thing to do then, Harry Potter's glasses. These have got to be like the most fiddliest things ever to make. I tried to make them with little, while back for another cake that I made for somebody. I made a sorting hat, and I tried to do the glasses then, and it was too much of a hassle. They just break. They're just so fiddly and delicate pieces of fondant. They're too small that they don't really have any structure to them. So I've used that little, as you can see, container to get my circles, which is brilliant. I've got my two arms, and now I am making, so that's set overnight. I let those Harry Potter glasses set overnight. And then I'm going to move on to creating the snitch. So you remember in the game there is the Harry Potter little ball that's part of the Quidditch game. So I didn't really have any feathers, so I had to go to the shop, but they didn't have any white feathers or any gold feathers, so I had to sort of improvise with the black and the sort of beigey colours. But what I did, I thought I was recording when I was making the snitch, but I wasn't, so apologies. But it's just a white fondant wrapped into like a ball shape, and then I put some little bits on it and sprayed gold all over it, and then put the feathers in. I actually thought it came out really well. I was well chuffed. So I've mounted that onto the book. I've put the glasses on the lovely board, and then I'm just going to add a little bit more to the cake. Just add those feathers, additional feathers that I've got, just to make it look a little bit like nice. Add a bit more things going on to it. I probably could have done the Harry Potter sign that's on his forehead. I probably could have done that to the left, because the cake looks a little bit plain there, but either way, I think it looks pretty damn good. I haven't made cake like this for ages, so hope you enjoyed it. Let's go over, shall we, and see what the Fen Fam rate my cake as. Oh, I'm nervous. I wonder what they've said. So let's go and have a look.
Wow! Honestly, Kpjpflorida, you outdid yourself. That cake was truly amazing.
And you say you're just a home baker for a hobby. I think you're pulling our leg.
Definitely.
Girls, what'd you give it out of 10?
100.
Amy?
1 million.
Oh!
10 out of 10 for me.
Definitely a 10 out of 10. You absolutely annihilated
And
it.
Amy,
Well done.
what do you want for your birthday, Ames?
Hedwig.
A Hedwig cake.
So we'll be placing an order soon.
Take care.
Thank you.
Done.
Well done again.
Well
Bye.
done. Bye.
Oh, thank you so much. I did so well for my confidence. So thank you to you lovely guys. And don't forget, check their channel out, links below. See you later. See you next time, everybody. Bye.